सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Yaha means what? The first word from the mantra. Yaha means what?
Then, therefore, this which.
Yaha?
What's that?
No.
Those.
This.
The one who. Yaha is the one who. Now the whole thing we have to understand is this. That which was described as Aksharam. Aksharam is what? Non-changing consciousness. Aksharam is masculine, feminine or neuter?
Neuter.
Neuter. Abba, surprise. Okay. Wonderful surprise. Neuter. And Yaha is masculine, feminine or neuter?
Masculine.
Yeah. So now how did that Aksharam become Yaha Sarvajnaha? Sound is on. At least I think so. Sound. Back. You didn't miss anything. So Yaha means
The one who.
the one who. Aksharam means that which. Yeah. How did that which become the one who? You who? That's my question. Huh? It did not. It as though did. Without needing gender reassignment surgery. It did not go under the knife. Yeah. No knife, no strife. And effortlessly, seamlessly. The Upanishad, and very covertly and quietly, without surgery, it does an operation on the head. Yeah, the surgery is not gender reassignment surgery. The surgery is here cognitive surgery. That consciousness, in order to understand this whole truth as myself, is seen from the standpoint of the one who. That which has to be understood as the one who. Because are you conscious or not?
Yes.
Are you neuter? No. So therefore I am Brahman is not going to do anything. You have to identify with the conscious being as yourself. So Yaha gives this consciousness, that consciousness which was described as that which, endows it with a beingness, an entity status is gained. And that entity is no different from this entity. That is how the Mahavakya works. So see, first thing I want you to notice in this mantra is this gender bender. But then why didn't it say Ya, Sarvajna, Ya? You know? Why didn't it say Ya? What is Ya? Yeah. She who. Why does it say he who? Upanishad is masculinist. Upanishad is sexist. Yeah? No. If you have Shraddha, you will say no. So what's the correct answer? No. Why is the correct answer no? Because it is really not. Because in the same Upanishad we have, in the another Upanishad we have the same issue being demonstrated. Indriyebhyah parahyarthaha अर्थेभ्यश्च परं मनः मनसस्तु परा बुद्धिः बुद्धेरात्मा महान् परः महतः परम् अव्यक्तम् अव्यक्तात् न परं किञ्चित् सा काष्ठा सा परा गतिः. Which Upanishad? Yes, you should understand. If I ask which Upanishad, there is a good chance you have studied it. Because even though I have been known for quizzes, and very strict quizzes at that, I am not quizzical as to tell you a quote from an Upanishad which you haven't studied. So this is the Upanishad from the Kathopanishad. Avyaktat Purushah Parah Purushatna Paran Kinchit Sa Kashtha Sa Paragati Gati. Purushah masculine, and then it's converted into Sa Gatihi. She is the only recourse. She is the truth. She is everything. And how did the he become she? Same way as the it became he here. Alright? Yeah. That's what it is. So there is no sexism here. And so we have to look at this. Yaha Sarvajnaha, the one who is all knowing, Sarvajnaha in general. Yaha Sarvavit, the one who knows everything in detail. Nothing is left out. Chinese, check. You know what? You know, Thai, check. Languages. Greek, check. And some vague language somewhere, check. Sanskrit, check. Because it is called Deva Bhasha. You can call any Bhasha Deva Bhasha. Sanskrit, check. Tamil, check. Hindi, check. Anything. Check. Yeah. So, all languages, knowledge of how to make everything that you cannot make. What can you make other than confusion? Nothing you can create, but that order, everything, you know, this is Ishvara Sarvavit. And then what? Yasya tapaha jnanamayaha. Whose tapas? That was described where? In the previous mantra. Abba. Okay. In the previous mantra just yesterday, whose tapas was described as just knowledge. Inhabiting and owning up the knowledge is tapas. Is there any effort required in this tapas? No. It's just like before painting, you know, the artist looks at the size of the canvas, sizes up the canvas, sizes up the color palette, and then something comes to the mind. It's not completely fully, born. It's there born as though like a Hiranyagarbha painting, Hiranyagarbha product is there in the mind as a potential. And then takes and just starts to paint. Maybe uses a pencil first and draws, just the general akara. And then starts to paint. This is what, is there any effort there? No. It's a creative expression. And the creative expression runs into painter's block, writer's block, blocker's block is all because of some block. That's why it's called block. But otherwise, because it's the block is the self-judgment. Otherwise, what happens? What happens otherwise? There is no block. The creative expression, when it's ready and when it is unfettered by jivatvam, is free. Is Ishvara unfettered by jivatvam?
No. I mean, yes. But unfit. Yes, unfit. Yes.
So there is no inhibition in expression. Ishvara doesn't say, I have to do everything what I need to do perfectly, otherwise I shouldn't even attempt it. This is what Jiva says. Yeah. Stupid jiva. Yeah. Everything has to come out right the first time itself. Who says?
Jiva.
Jiva says. And puts in incredible pressure on itself. You know, to create one stone soup. Yeah. And then I cannot make a mistake. If I make a mistake, I cannot stand myself. Ishvara has never been heard saying that. Correct? Yeah. So for Ishvara, it's just a play. The Jagat is a play, and the creation is an as though. Just like you are not censoring your dream while you are dreaming it. Afterwards, you may say, "Oh, I better not even think, reflect on that, because even while I'm awake, I'll get scared." You may censor it later, but you're not censoring it in the dreaming process. You don't. No dreamer says, "I'm going to project a perfect dream." No, that's why you have nightmares. It's a far from perfect dream. So in dream, you are like that Ishvara, uninhibited by self-judgment. You see, you can even see the contrast. Only the waking state, the tatters of, the self-confidence that is worn as tatters, belie the efforts to just be spontaneous. They don't allow the spontaneity. Otherwise, it is effortless. How much effort did you put to project a dream? Oh, so many people. I thought of 500 people. Oh, that was very hard. Is that hard? No. So for the Ishvara, to think of 5 quadrillion jivas or bodies for those jivas is not hard. Think of the karma of 5 quadrillion jivas is not hard. Nothing is hard. So all effortless. So Jnanamayam, Maya is here Vikara. Yeah. Is a modification of the knowledge in the form of the so-called things we say things, so-called things. The nothing that we take to be the thing is just a modified form of Ishvara's knowledge. And you can also say it's just knowledge with name and form. Jnanamayam tapaha, whose creative process, Yasya Jnanamayam tapaha, whose creative process is as effortless as one's own dream, and whose creative process, the substance for whose creative process is nothing but his, in this case, his all-knowingness. So that knowledge becomes the material, as it were, to paint this palette of duality. In fact, Ishvara has 3 primary colors. What are they? Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. And all permutations and combinations are those 3 primary colorations of the Jagat, the gunas. And so, this is an effortless painting. It's not, it's not like making a mural on the wall. Even though it's a concerted effort, people have so much ayasa. Oh, this wall is so big, and it's like the Great Wall of China. How am I going to start? How am I going to finish? Before starting trouble. After starting trouble. Before finishing trouble. Because some people cannot wrap it up. Come on, wrap it up. No. One more touch. Whether it's cooking or cleaning, they cannot wrap it up. One more cilantro leaf. One more this, one more that. And sometimes people cannot go through with it, they cannot start, they cannot end, they cannot sustain. But here, no such effort anywhere. If there is an effort, the tapas here, which the word is used in contrast, tapas means that which is, an effort. Tapas is not a small Spanish snacks. It should not be confused with another word of the same name. That is Spanish language. Yeah. That's not the kind of tapas we are talking about. Tapas means here the knowledge and the concentration that is required to allow this knowledge to, as it were, morph into the very things that are visualized. So the tapas is that knowledgeable visualization that morphs, as it were, into the very thing that was visualized, which is non-separate from that knowledge, non-separate from the being who is the owner of that knowledge. Here we can say owner, because the consciousness now has the first morphing we saw yesterday and last week is between the knowledge and the knower. That is what is there. So there is a certain kind of an ownership. So everyone else's tapas here need not mean austerities, but any kind of creative expression of everyone else is ayasamayaha, means full of ayasa, preponderantly ayasa. Ayasa means striving, effort. 9/10 ayasa, 1/10 creativity. Yeah, this is what it is. That's why people say, I want a retreat. What for? No, I'm a writer. So what? I'm going to apply for a scholarship so that somebody feeds me and I get to go to some place where one window I look, there are mountains and trees. Another window, ocean. Third window, something else, very inspiring. And nice landscape, flowers. And then I'm going to get up in the morning and write every day. Why can't you write right here? No, I have to go away somewhere. This is a meditative thing. This is my tapas. I have to leave the pets and the loved ones behind and go off into a reclusive mode and then do this tapas of writing. That's what every writer said and continues to say. And then what? If you look at the whole writing process even 50 years ago, the person would be sitting surrounded by all this nicery, in terms of the landscape, sitting in front of the typewriter and with all mass of paper, all crumpled up because wrinkled paper. Why? Puts one paper into the typewriter. This is the old-fashioned writer. Starts to say once upon a time, doesn't get beyond once upon a time. Starts to type once upon a time. Finished. And then hates oneself. Rips out the paper from the typewriter and balls it up. Throws it in, throws it down. Why? Because one is in the throes of self-judgment. That's why one keeps throwing the paper. And you have a huge tree growing by that time, so much paper used up. Tree growing in the room, in the study. And then what? And then a slim little few things that have passed, this censure, this censorious jiva writing. And now of course at least it's not so hard on the environment because you can just press the delete button and it all goes. And sometimes you don't want to press it and by mistake you press it. And there goes your manuscript. Yeah. Because there is no script anymore. It's gone. And it's just like the Jagat. Right now scripted, now unscripted, finished. And so like this, so you see in the creative expression of the jiva, and these artists are very moody, And in fact they say that the more, intelligent one is, the more cantankerous one is. Yeah. So then these artists are very moody. They brood, they have moods, and they're not, and they're all just into themselves, and they're not very social. And then everyone has to put up with all these moods just to read a book, that they wrote. And of course, in the end, it's worth it because they don't prevail. After a mound of paper, the few 100 pages or 100 odd pages that come out, they have nothing to do with this fellow. Yeah. This is what they are, Ishvara, that work belongs to Ishvara. But this fellow gets away by writing his name on it. Yeah. Forsyth Saga. There is a whole trilogy, I think. Trilogy. Three things. And generational story. 3 or 4 books are there. Forsyth Saga, 3 I think, yeah. About a Forsyth family. Yeah. They did not have much foresight. That's why. So that itself, the jiva's life, the writer's life itself is a big saga. And in fact, whatever gets produced is really that same Jnanamayam tapaha only. It's just that filtered through this non-hollow jiva. The jiva doesn't understand it because the jiva is never, rarely ever, completely an instrument of this knowing. Because there are so many blocks and clogs and You need the braino of the Upanishads to clear out the pipes and the pipes of resistance and blocks to know that whatever comes is you as Ishvara alone. That's why the jiva takes everything that the Ishvara gives, but then worries why the idea is not coming. The idea is not coming because you are sitting there. Remove yourself, the idea will come. Get out of the way. You are in the way of yourself. This is what is there in the Upanishad also. So that's, you see the difference between the creative, the jivic and the Ishvaric creative process. The jivic creative process is inhibited, marred by self-judgment, self-loathe, lack of self-confidence. It's marred. To write one page, the whole universe has to bow down and lie lie in service because this person is bringing out one page. Ishvara doesn't churn out the Jagat page by page. Yeah. Not like that. No inhibition. Because all knowledge, whose nature is perfection, and really whose nature is your nature. And if you remove the, what is that? If you see clearly, not just with one eye, everybody has got that thing that the pirate wears. What is that called? iPad. A pad over one eye. This is the pirate, correct? And then a hook instead of one hand. Yeah. This is the problem. This hook hooks on to everything finite. And the eye sees only out of one eye means, I know I am, but don't ask, I don't see the whole. Yeah. Steals away the spontaneity, the creativity. Like even this pirate. Identifies with offenses and defenses. Mounts the dhwaja of skull and crossbones. What is dhwaja? Flag. Skull and crossbones. Don't come near. Yeah. But then help. Don't come near. Help. Don't come near. Oh, but nobody loves me. This is the problem. Confused jiva. This is the difference. Here is where the difference is. And even though you can never call yourself a Sarvavit, you are still Ishvara. Why? Because the Sarvavetritvam, the status of that magician who knows everything, who can craft everything, you do not require for liberation. Neither do you need. In fact, you have to drop the identification with this body, mind, sense complex as the one who crafts only confusion. That also you don't need. Both the extremes, both on both continuums, you have to disrobe the status of the knower, the status of the creator on one hand, and then the status of being just a product of creation. That also has to be, that garb has to go. Yasya jnanamayam tapaha. In fact, your tapas is also jnanamayam if you don't come in the way. It's effortless. But here it's not the tapas of striving, and the jiva is only knows how to strive. Yeah. Striving all the time. And the striver is addressed here by saying that Ishvara doesn't strive. Don't think that for you to write one page requires 10 days and so much paper. Yeah, don't think for Ishvara it needs that much time. Because we tend to extrapolate. How it is for me, that is how Ishvara also must be tired. Ishvara needs a day off. We don't say that. Yeah. Day is Ishvara, night is Ishvara, day off is also Ishvara. Yeah. Ishvara is everything except that which is off. Yeah. That which is off is jiva. Off course, off base, off knowledge, yeah, derailed. This is jivatvam, jivahood. So the two have to be disrobed. Yasya jnanamayam tapaha. Then, what's the next line? Tasmat means what? Tasmat means what? Quickly. From that, yes. Tasmat. Etat, this. From that, this. Yeah. What came?
Brahma.
Etat tasmad etat.
Brahma.
Etat brahma.
Nama Rupanam.
Nama
Rupanam.
Rupam annam. Yeah. Cha jayate. So out of this, tasmat means out of this. Out of this, what all was there? Nama Rupa came. Namas means names. Out of this Ishvara has emerged all names and all forms. Yeah. Very nice. These two verses are very beautiful. So Tasmat. Tasmat is what? Brahman, correct? And then out of that Brahman came what? This Brahman. Just to show the non-separation. Out of that Brahman came what? This Brahman. And what is this Brahman? Equipped with name, form, color. Nama Rupam. Rupa is color, name, form, color, and food. This doesn't look like a very nice list because name and form go together, correct? Yeah, chip and dip go together. But name and dip, what is this? Name and chip? What is the connection? Why bring in food here? Relatively, we need something that sustains the name and form. And also, let us see who is reading this. Who is listening to this? Who is always hungry. Yeah. You invite people for a party and then say, oops, I forgot to supply food. Sorry, there is not any food today. Do you think they are going to say, never mind? No. You know, if they don't know you very well, they'll first leave. They'll say, sorry, got to go. Forgot something. And if they know you well, and if they'll offer to help. And if you say, how about if we just sit, discuss the Upanishad? We won't have food today. You know, since you are all here, let's just chant some Gita verses and then dwell upon their meanings. And let's not worry about the food. They will look extremely unconvinced at first. And then they'll bring helpful suggestions. One of them invariably will offer to go to the closest restaurant and bring some food. And you say, not necessary, don't leave. Now that you're here, let's have a meaningful discussion. And the other one will offer to go into your kitchen and, make some upma, because that's very quick. Yeah. Some cream of wheat and something, it's like the Indian version of oatmeal. So quickly you can make. Somebody will, and you say, no, let's just sit here. And after that they will not sit here, they will not let you sit there either. Yeah. Why? Because this is where the person is at. So two reasons. On the relative level, the name and form is sustained by that, which is also relative. And then second thing is that food for the learning jiva is not relative, it is absolute. It's an absolute necessity because that's where the focus is. So that annam, even though it was mentioned earlier, here again it is iterated again so that one feels, whatever was on my list has come. This is what it is. So, tasmat means from that Ishvara, this Brahman, meaning this Brahman is not separate from that Ishvara. So even though earlier we called it that Brahman, now that Brahman has been owned up as this Brahman. Tat Brahma has now become Etat Brahma. At least I know that there is such a thing called consciousness, and that is I. It is the self-revealing I. Now that Ishvara is really the same, this self-revealing Brahman, which is occupying the whole Jagat in the form of food, name, etc., color, all these things. Very nice. Because, so the first verse is what is it called Swarupa Lakshana. Yat etad adreshyam agrahyam avarnam apanipadam tat bhutayonihi. You know, up till Bhutayoni, that is Bhutayoni immediately brings in Tathastha Lakshana. But Swarupa Lakshana, the nature of oneself, nature of Brahman, without having eyes, ears, nothing, not an object, but the truth of the subject, that is what is called Swarupa Lakshana, where the Satya Jnana Anantyam Brahmanaha is established. You know, and then what? That is not enough to free one from samsara. So the Ishvara allergy first was given some antihistamines and then was presented in a twofold way. One is from the standpoint of Brahman. What did the previous verse mantra say? From this, let us look at the one we just studied, not the one today, but yesterday. What did it say? The previous mantra?
Brahma came big.
Huh? Huh? Yeah, that Brahman, underwent a change in order to be equipped with the creative potential, and that change was nothing but identifying oneself as the owner of this knowledge. And once one becomes the owner of the knowledge, one becomes what? Creator, knower. And the creation is nothing but the occupation of the knowledge, is the decimation of that knowledge into various names and forms. This one says. First, that order of creation is given, a very funny order, but we don't have to go with that. It's just to see that everything has come from Brahman, purposely mixed up. And here we have that, here we should not take, in addition to tapas, satyam, food, then it was nama, rupa, anna was created again. And Adi Shankara points this out at the end, that there is no contradiction. This is why there is no contradiction, because it is the same thing, because it's immaterial what came when everything is consciousness. What does it matter if there are 10 things in the universe or 110? It is of no matter. Okay, so then what? So, yasya jnana tasmad etat brahma. No, so from that sarvajna and that sarvavit, which is all-knowing consciousness endowed with the all-knowing, hat, all-knowing, all-power, omniscient hat. And out of this hat came the rabbit called the Jagat, Ishvara, and the wand is Maya, which created this rabbit called the Jagat out of Ishvara's hat. And then really, what is the status of the rabbit and the wand? It is that Brahman only, this Brahman only, which I called myself. And then what? Which is the author of all names and forms. Now let us look at what Bhashya. Yaha Uktalakshanaha Aksharakhyah Sarvajnah Samanyena Sarvam Janati iti Sarvajnah. Yeah, so Yaha is described as Uktalakshanaha Aksharakhyah by 2 words. Yaha means the one who. And who is this who? Ukta Lakshanaha, endowed with the characteristics that was just mentioned. Tapasa chiyate brahma ityadina. That was just mentioned earlier. Ukta Lakshanaha, endowed with the above mentioned characteristics, which was already said. Uktam means already mentioned. And then what? And what else is another name for this Yaha? Aksharam. That which was described in the neuter as Aksharam is alone this Yaha. Adi Shankara cautions in the first sentence, don't think that they are two separate entities. They are one and the same. In fact, it's you. Even Ishvara doesn't have two names. It's all you. It's just that Ishvara is called He only here to separate to separate from that all-pervasive consciousness which has not identified with itself. So the He-ness, is only with reference to consciousness versus conscious being, a being that is all consciousness, conscious being. So there is an entity here we are talking about, because the entity has got a kind of a connection with that which it has created, a mithya connection of the ruler, Ishitru, of the overlord of the Jagat, and that entity has to be reckoned with. And my fears and my pains and sorrows connected with being overlorded have to be come to a place of peace, and Ishvara has to be reckoned with in my life, and authority issues have to be dealt with. And that is why this is a very important mantra. So yaha ukta lakshanaha aksharakhyaha, akhyaha means called, known as aksharaha, is indeed sarvagyaha. And what is the meaning of sarvagyaha? Samanyena sarvam janati, the one who knows everything in general. Samanyena, in general. Sarvam, all is, I already explained. What is all? All that I know and all that I don't know. So sarvam janati iti sarvagyaha. Okay, that is so we have this in Sanskrit where you put gyaha, and gyaha means what? Knower. Janati iti gyaha. And you can say pot gyaha means what? One who knows pot. Ghatagyaha, one who knows pot. Patagyaha, the one who knows cloth. Yeah. Ghatagyaha, ghatapata, and ghatagyaha, patagyaha, mathagyaha, and then what? Sarvagyaha. This is what it is. So gyaha means knower. And then samanyena sarvam janati, knows everything, is called sarvagyaha. But then there is another synonym, sarvavit, and that is explained. Visheshena sarvam vetti iti sarvavit. Yeah, sarvavit. Same thing. Vid to know, gya to know. So same thing. Both of them are from synonymous verbs. But sarvavit means the one who knows all the details. What lies in between the crevices of, the galaxies. What lies in the crevices of the cobwebby mind. Yeah, everything, all the details. There's nothing, no place to hide from Bhagavan. And so, that when you tell children this, they are terrified. One 2-year-old was told this, 3-year-old. That God is watching everything you do, and the 3-year-old refused to go to the bathroom and refused to get undressed. And God is watching, I don't want to get undressed. So, but of course, if there is a Dvaita philosophy, this is what will happen. But here the watcher is God, the watched is God, it's all same. Yeah. So there is nothing odd here about this. And so the one who knows everything in detail, sarvavit, visheshena means in detail, specifically, sarvam vetti, everything one knows, iti sarvavit. Yasya jnanamayam jnanavikarameva sarvajnalakshanam tapaha. Yeah, we'll stop there for a minute. So, yasya jnanamayam means the one whose tapas, whose discipline or whose effort at creation, we can take it tentatively like that, whose effort is effortless, that's he's going to say. So whose effort is nothing but knowledge, whose creative enterprise called the Jagat, maybe that's a better word to use than effort, whose creative enterprise called the Jagat is nothing but knowledge. It's the whole Jagat is a manifest knowledge. So here the mayat suffix means modification of the knowledge. Because when I look at the flower, correct? Yeah, speaking of finite, in the first class, it's slightly better looking, correct? Yeah. So now it's ready to be pressed or depressed. So speaking of the flower, the creative enterprise called the flower is really what? Effortless. The effort is what? Is just called tapas because the effort is nothing but the manifestation of the knowledge. But then when I look at this flower, do I see knowledge of Ishvara immediately?
No.
Should we wait for a consensus? Is there a doubt? No. What do I see? Name and form. I see flower. But then you have to have the special eyes of the Upanishad to see this as Ishvara. Correct?
Yes.
And even then you are transcending the name and form and going to the knowledge and appreciating the knowledge, like even the touch. You can never, you can have velvet flower, silk flower, you can never, when you touch it, you are touching Ishvara. Really. You cannot mimic this through any mechanism. That softness, it's amazing. That it's alive and it is soft in a way that nothing that is manufactured can ever be. So when I touch this flower, the petal, I touch Ishvara. It opened up after holding it. How's that? Look at that. It wasn't like this just now. It's liking the attention. So when I look at this flower, I don't immediately see Ishvara. Ishvara or Ishvara's knowledge. So then what form does the knowledge lie in when I look at this flower? The knowledge has modified itself. It's in a modified form. Yeah. The flower is a modification of that limitless knowledge. And of course, before modification, you have to add a big as though. Yeah. It's an as though modification because that which is infinite knowledge can never modify. That's why I said it's a magic wand in the form of Maya Devi. And Ishvara is the magician holding the magic wand, and the flower comes out. And the flower is a modification of that knowledge. And it's not like the modification of yogurt and milk. When milk is modified into yogurt, what happens? Yeah. Parinami Karanam. It has become the yogurt. You cannot extract the milk afterwards. You can have buttermilk, but you cannot have milk. So therefore what? Here it is Vivarta Karanam, that knowledge is manifest in the form of all these things. So the knowledge is as though modified to take on the names and forms of the various items in the Jagat. So this is all it says. Yasya Jnanamayam is described, the Mayat, he says, don't take it in any other form except the knowledge. The modified form of this knowledge, except the modification. Take it in the form, the Maya is in the form of modification. So then what? Yasya Jnanamayam Tapaha. One more thing we can also say, that Swarthe also you can take. If someone is all knowledge, one is no longer ignorant about Brahman, you can say it is itself. But then it is not really itself because you're doing a little step to transcend the name and the form. So therefore what? It's the Mayat, the suffix Maya, as in Jnana Maya, has to be taken from the standpoint of modification, just like Annamaya. Jnana Vikaram Eva Sarvagnya Lakshanam. So this Sarvagnya Lakshanam that which is characterized by the word Sarvagnya, the all-knowingness, and that all-knowingness in a modified form is all Jagatness. That's all it's being said. So the Jagat is non-separate from Ishvara's knowledge. Tapaha na ayasa lakshanam tasmad yathoktat sarvajnad etat karyalakshanam brahma hiranyagarbhakhyam jayate. Yeah. So the tapas is a manifestation of all knowledge, not of any effort here. Knowledge itself is the effort. There is no effort other than knowledge. There is no striving. There is no second guessing. There is no self, what is that? Self, what's that word? Self-flagellation. There is no whipping up oneself. And there is no critique of oneself. This is that kind of a creation, which is just the spreading of this knowledge. And from this modified knowledge, as though modified into various names and forms. And what is the first modification? Hiranyagarbha, the one who identifies as the knower and the creative potential simultaneously. And here that is referred to as this Brahman, that Brahman, this Brahman. And so this Brahman, that Brahman is what? Before the identification with the knowledge. And this Brahman is what? Along with the identification of the knowledge. Hiranyagarbhakhyam jayate. Out of this Ishvara is born the potential and the knowledge to create, which Ishvara is equipped with, which is in relation to being equipped by what? Ishvara is called Ishvara, that is there. Kincha Nama Asau Devadattah Yajnadattah Ityadi Lakshanam Rupam Idam Shuklam Neelam Ityadi Annancha Vrihiyavadi Lakshanam Jayate. Yeah. So kincha, furthermore. Nama means names, and Adi Shankara gives examples of some of the top baby names of his time. What are they? Devadatta. And what is another top name that hit the charts? Yajnadatta. And if he had to give number 3, what would it be? Somadatta. And number 4, what would it be? Just plain old Datta. So he is just giving some names of his time. Yeah. Names means don't go do a PhD. What does it mean? Nama. Oh, maybe it is Nama Vikara. Maybe I have to go. Don't, fry your head. Just know that name really means name. Devadatta, Somadatta, Yajnadatta, our normal names. And then Rupam also, don't do a PhD on Rupam. Rupam means Neelam, blue, Shuklam, white, and then by extrapolation, Sthulam, Sukshmam, subtle, gross, Laghu, Guru, fat, thin. This is all comes under Nama and Rupa. So don't over exercise your head here. This is just an obvious meaning, he says. So they all are born from Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbha is nothing but Ishvara with the equipped with knowledge and the potential to create. And that Ishvara alone makes that which is equipped with that knowledge and potential to create is alone called Ishvara. And out of this Brahman came this potential and this knowledge to create, which went ahead and created names, forms and food to keep those names and forms going. Correct? Yeah. And then he says, don't beat your head over this. There is nothing big here. And then he says, Annam means Vrihi Yava. Shuklam, Neelam, white, blue, etc. Shuklam, white, Neelam, blue. Ityadi means you can fill in the blanks of other colors. Yeah. And then Purva, Vrihi. Vrihi means wheat, I think. No. Yeah. Vrihi is rice. Yeah, Vrihi is rice. And then Yava is barley. Yeah. Vrihi and Yavadi. So rice, barley, etc. You can fill in the blanks. You can put other grains. And then what? Then it says, yeah, Lakshanam. Lakshanam means having the characteristics of Jayate, is born. Purva. मंत्रोक्तक्रमेण इति अविरोधः द्रष्टव्यः. It says, don't think that this Brahman here is creating more things in contradiction to the other Brahman. Which other Brahman? From the last verse. In the last mantra we had Brahman create. What all came out? Satyam came out. What else came out? Look and tell. Yeah, what are the things that came out of the last Brahman in the last verse? Yeah, Annam, Prana, Mana, Satya, Loka, Karma, Karma Phala, all that came out. And then, that Brahman left out Namarupa. And then, of course, we can never have enough Annam. So, this Brahman is creating that. No. How many Brahmans? One. So, here you can read it as a contradiction. But Adi Shankara cautions and he says there is no contradiction here. Avirodha, no contradiction. Purvokta means that which was said before and that which is being said now. There is no contradiction between that Purvokta mantrena with regard to the Purvokta kramena iti avirodha. So there is no contradiction because the krama stays. The order in which everything came out stays. This is just reiterating it from the standpoint of the one equipped with the conscious ness as the knower and as all knower, the one who is equipped with a creative potential. From that standpoint, that same creation is being repeated. So in the same order, this doesn't violate that order because Nama, Rupa, everything has. And Annam, everything is sustained by Annam. So it's just, this is talking about the general things, but there is no contradiction between the agent of that creation and the agent of this creation. It's all one and the same. Yeah, so we'll stop here. The new one we can start next week. I'm becoming cleverer. And because the advantage is all mine here. And so we'll stop here for a change. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. What's the advantage for me to stop here? Don't know? So that I don't have to repeat everything again. When next Saturday. One announcement. Next Monday there was supposed to be our Dindima Memorial Day. However, I'm not here. So that has been slightly postponed. Yeah. To June 1st. Yeah. The next Saturday, Sunday, both we will have what? Mundaka. One more announcement. I thought I was coming back on Friday, but I'm informed that week, 31st May, I thought I was coming on the 30th, but I'm informed otherwise. So I will be back only on the 31st. So 31st there is Mundaka class which is written in your calendar which you must have received. And that is not happening. So two announcements. The class that was going to be on the 26th has been postponed to 1st, which starts at 9:30 a.m. Pacific time, and the class which was going to begin on the 31st at 7:30, unless you want to take something,
There's going to be something on Pramana.
Pramana you are going to do? Yeah. So you can come and listen to Janani talking about Pramana, means of knowledge. You can do that. So we will have class, but we will not have Mundaka Bhashya class. Or you can even answer some questions or whatever it is if people have some questions in addition to that. You can do that. So we will have class, but we will not have Bhashya class. And so that is what I wanted to, those are the two things we have to keep in mind. So there was one question, is this getting at Ishvara Drishti and Jiva Drishti? You can say that, you can say that Drishti means point of view. Yeah, so from the Jiva's point of view, actually Jiva's point of view of everything being finite is indeed a point of view, and that everything is infinite is the view. So from the standpoint of understanding Ishvara, we say the view, and from the standpoint of Jiva's smallness, etc., it's a point of view. A point of view is fine to shed the light on a few things, but when the point of view is confused with the view, then it's problematic. That's what Satyam and Mithya are. Mithya is Satyam, but if there is no understanding of Satyam, it is converted to Satyam by itself, then it is taken to be Satyam. That's a dangerous place. That is the place, what is called place of samsara. Okay? Okay.
Swamiji, like this morning I woke up and this thought came, I know this and the I knows is different.
Huh?
When you say I know this,
Yeah.
that knower is out.
Yeah, that knower is different.
And
Yeah.
then the I knows,
Yeah.
they're different.
Yes.
But then when we put these together,
Yes.
actually
It's
they're not
Ishvara.
different.
Yeah, they are not different. Correct.
Mhm.
That's Ishvara. I know this.
Mhm.
And I know. That is, I know this. Sarva Vetritvam. Vetritvam. Forget Sarva. I know. Jnaha. Jnanam. So, that is that Satyam Jnanam. That Jnanam.
Mm.
So, I know this is the knower. That is Vetritvam. So the identification with the knower cannot cancel that which is known.
Mhm.
That is the knowledge.
Mm.
Yeah.
And it shows how para and apara
Yeah.
are one and the same.
Yeah,
actually.
well, apara resolves into para.
Mm.
Para is never apara.
Mm.
Ah.
Mm.
Apara has no being other than para.
No, I mean no, like
Yeah.
para knowledge and apara knowledge
Yeah.
coming from one and the same place.
Well,
Mm.
yes, it is
Yes.
the source is the same. Para and apara vidya, as far as it's all knowledge.
Mm.
It's jnanam that morphs into apara.
Mm.
Apara as in the universe. Apara resolves into para because apara is non-ultimate
Mm.
and doesn't have a leg to stand on. Para is that which never resolves. So apara is just a manifestation of that para. A mithya manifestation, a dependent manifestation. Okay? Yeah. Yeah, correct. That quote was from the Kathopanishad. Very good.
Laurie says she's recovering from flu and she hopes to be in class next.
Huh? Who?
Laurie.
Yeah. She's still in California?
No, she says she's recovering from flu and she
Okay,
hopes to be
okay,
here
yeah.
next week.
All right, Laurie. Take care. Yeah, open this and everybody can have some healthy papaya.